think it was A. Yep.
We'll call the meeting to order for the Clemson City Police Advisory Board meeting for May. We'll begin with our roll call. Myself, Lisa Robinson. Jackie Myers. Present. Kevin Doe.
Present.
Sandy Edge.
Present.
Pablo Unda.
Present.
Elaine Masseri has an excused absence. Winton Hunter. And our student reps, high school and college, are off for the summer. So we will now go to our approval of the agenda. You have it in front of you. It's also posted online. Let's take a look through. Is there anything that needs to be added, edited, adjusted? If we don't have anything, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda?
All right, thank you.
Second.
Approved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll now go on to look at the previous meeting minutes. These are the minutes from April 24th. You have them in front of you, and they're also posted online. It may take a few minutes if you haven't had a chance to look at them yet. Are there any edits? Anything that needs to be corrected?
I think so.
This is good. Can we get a motion to approve? A second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor of the minutes as read? All righty. We can move on to citizens' comments. We don't have anyone in the gallery. Does anyone have anything that citizens have brought to your attention? All right, hearing none, we will move on to department status.
Okay, so we have 3 officers in field training. 2 are certified officers, so they should be finishing up shortly. 1 is an uncertified officer. We have 1 non-certified officer that was at the academy that was sent home for some follow-up training, and we anticipate them going back here in the summer to finish their training before they come back to their field service or field training with an officer. And we have 2 vacancies we're currently trying to fill. We have 3 or 4 candidates in the background process right now to fill those 2 positions. In dispatch, we have 2 vacancies, but we have 2 that are out for medical reasons. So that's been a challenge for us to keep the dispatch staffed and up and running. As far as initiatives or projects, this past week we went to the new computer system that I've spoke to you all about. It was quite a whirlwind. We're still figuring out some nuances that need to be fixed here and there, but for the most part, it went pretty well. People are up and running. I think employees are happy with the way it operates versus the older system. It's a lot easier to find information, a lot more user-friendly on things. It just has some quirks about it that we have to get around. So that's with any software package you go to. It's more of a, well, I'll cover the next topic under crime review. The only other thing I want to point out, hopefully that our presentation by Sergeant Wilbur was very informative about FOIA and how we deal with FOIA. One of the good things about this new computer system that we got is the ability to redact what we need to redact is built into this system. So the old system, we'd have to pull it out, print it out, then use another product to manually redact, and took a lot of time. Where this system is set up to automatically redact, many things. We still got to go through and make sure everything gets redacted properly, but it's less time consuming for the employee that has to do that. And if you're okay with that, we'll move on to the crime review.
No questions? Yep.
All right. Under crime review, so our crime map is not up. It was broke since the last time. I'm kind of fighting with the vendor. However, since we went to the new computer system, they have to change how they get our information. So we're in the process of working that out now. So hopefully we'll get that up and running soon. Last month, in the month of April, we handled 4,377 calls for service. We did 466 traffic stops and issued 247 citations, made 4 DUI arrests. Our total incarcerations for the month was 39 for our agency. We answered 23 noise complaints, issued 2 noise violations. Let's see, so over 60 vehicle collisions, only 4 with injuries. And as far as crimes reported, we had 11 assaults, mostly intimidation. 2 were aggravated assaults. We had 7 motor vehicle thefts, most of which were scooters or mopeds. We made 4 narcotic arrests during the month of April. Let's see. I think there's 24 drunk or liquor law violations, drunk and disorderly. We did have quite a bit at the earlier part of this month too, right at the at graduation. Those numbers will be reported next month. And we only had 1 burglary reported, which was great. Let's see. Okay. So that's what was reported in the month of April. One other thing, well, just kind of an update, you know that we applied for and got the grant for our narcotics detective. We don't have many numbers to represent yet because these investigations can be very long and ongoing, and usually when we do finally make arrests, we will get warrants for multiple people at the same time. So I do anticipate within the next few months, one of the cases that they're working on to come to fruition and make several narcotics arrests. So their investigating is going very well. Yes.
What are you doing with the narcotics investigation currently? Do you have anybody manning that? Your current narcotics investigations?
Well, the investigations are assigned to the detectives.
Okay.
And they actively work them. And as they gather evidence and reports and such, they continue to add to the report. But they don't affect arrests until they've collected enough of the evidence that they need to move forward with an arrest warrant.
So we don't currently have a division right now?
Well, we have 2 detectives that are assigned to narcotics.
Okay, and you're looking to get another one?
No, the grant gave us the ability to put a second one there.
So you
Before, we had one that was splitting duties between narcotics investigations and other investigations, which a lot of times the other investigations pulled him away from concentrating on narcotics investigations. You know, narcotics investigations are unlike any other crime. Like, so let's say a murder. In murder, you're actively looking for the person that committed the murder. You're actively looking for evidence against the person that committed the murder. And then once you get enough of it, you make the arrest. Well, narcotics investigations, they're criminal conspiracies. There are multiple people involved in the investigation. You have to get enough evidence on each of those people. So there's many things that you have to subpoena, get warrants for, do surveillance on, interview informants, interview witnesses. It's a ton of things that have to be done, and those things don't all come in a timely manner. And then when they do come in, then they need to be analyzed, and then based on the information that is discovered during the analyzation, we'll create more leads to go down and investigate this, or say, how much is this person involved? Are they peripherally involved? Are they directly involved? Much like an octopus, there's multiple tentacles that go everywhere, and so you just have to keep following where the breadcrumbs lead you to see how much of that conspiracy you can get. And at some point, they have to make a determination, okay, we need to cut it off and just go after the main people involved. And then the rest of that information becomes intelligence for other investigations down the road. So they're constantly consuming and receiving intelligence information of people who are involved, vehicles that are involved, locations that are involved, you know, who's supplying money, who's making money, et cetera, et cetera.
So the addition of the second person would affect a better outcome down the road, because
Where they can concentrate on it and do all the things that need to be done and not get sidetracked on another investigation and then leave that investigation alone. They're
That's a good thing.
very, very time consuming.
So the grant is for how long? I'm sorry, am I?
Oh, no,
So the grant is for 1 year, and I've reapplied for a second year. I won't find out until after, because it's a federally funded grant through the state. I have to go by the federal fiscal year, which is October 1 to September 30th, so I won't know sometime till the end of October if it gets refunded again.
Now this, one more question, last
Yes,
question.
go ahead.
So this grant just takes care of the salary for the additional detective, or does it, you know, help with forensics or other investigative?
So the first grant I applied for, you apply for as much as you can, and then what they fund is what they come back and tell you can fund. So currently, it is funding the salary, including overtime for the detective that's in the position. It provided a new vehicle and all the equipment for that new detective. It provided for all the computer and communications devices for that position, clothing, body armor, radios, all the things that we basically need for a position to be filled. That's what's funding this year, with some monies for equipment used for surveillance and other things. Next year, again, would be salary and benefits and overtime, but additional equipment. We don't need another vehicle because we already purchased one, so we're asking for other equipment to help with those investigative needs with those types of investigations.
Promise, last question. Suppose you don't get funded next year, do we have the budget to absorb this new person?
We have the budget to cover the salary and benefits, so some of the equipment asked for, we may not get.
So the person can continue on.
But
good
the city administrator said that he would make sure that we would not have to get rid of that position or a position if we didn't get funded from the grant.
I think that's good. Yeah, that's a good question.
Sorry about all the questions.
No, those were good questions, yeah. The 39 incarcerations for the month, is that a high number? That seems, is that higher than typical?
The prior month, we had 40.
Oh,
We stay busy.
yeah.
Okay, along
I
the
guess it's-
crime,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
guess
go
it's
ahead.
too early to see is any correlation with the new sales of alcohol in games or whatever.
no, because it was the month of April.
Okay.
It didn't get May, but we generally, because of the sale of alcohol on campus, it generally doesn't affect us
Okay.
off campus. Not really. If anything, I would expect incidents to increase on campus versus off campus because of that. Now, because they couldn't get alcohol on campus before,
Yes.
they would have to come off campus to get it, and that logic would say our numbers would increase because of that, but
I was just wondering if there was any data showing anything with the new reality.
What did we have from the Savannah Bananas? Was that,
It wasn't any different than any game day. The biggest headache from that was traffic afterwards.
Yeah.
Mainly because all of those people tried to leave all at the same time, where normal football games, people leave in waves. And the people that attend know the traffic patterns, know where they're going, know how to get out. Most of the people that came to Savannah Bananas did not know where they were going, did not know what the patterns were, did not know how to get out. I had residents from Anderson yelling at me in the middle of the roadway because I was making them go away from Anderson, and they live in Anderson. So that tells me they've never, as long as they've lived in Anderson, they've never been to a Clemson football game, because that's where we send everybody on that road. So it was quite an interesting thing, but it's very similar to when we have a game that goes into overtime, or it's a very close game to the bitter end, and then everybody tries to leave all at the same time with same traffic issues. They did have less troopers for the Savannah Banana games that they do for the regular football games, and that caused a little bit of an issue because there were less people on hand to kind of guide people a certain way. But
traditionally, when they reintroduce, okay, no alcohol, and then they start selling, traditionally, the numbers go up, I'm assuming, right? I mean,
you're going to get people that are going to overindulge and
yeah.
have alcohol-related issues. It's going to happen. I think part of the, well, I won't say that.
That major accident that happened on, I think it was 76, did that involve, were our officers called in for that as well?
So I can only talk about what we've seen in the news for the
yeah.
most part, because it's still actively being investigated. But we were notified by the Central Police Department that they were chasing a vehicle into our jurisdiction, and by the time my officers were able to get in the area of, he had already gone off the ramp and onto the road below. My officers did come upon where the vehicle ended up and assisted with that. Some of them tried to give first aid to the person, and we held the scene until the other agencies could get there. That intersection is actually on campus. That is not
I
in the
wondered
city.
about that, if that was.
So that intersection at 76 and 93, if you remember the motorcycle crash that occurred on 93 at the on-ramp there, that is on campus. So campus begins just before you get, just as you pass Tiger Bubble, the car wash there, that starts campus there, going towards the president's house, et cetera. But the roadway below 76 is also a campus. So from there, all the way down 76 to where the power substation is all part of campus. So that stretch of road on 76 is all part of campus. So it came to rest on campus property. The university police did show up. They assisted in securing it. And then once all those resources got there, then my officers were released.
Well, I thought the messaging for citizens was really good. I received the alert, on my phone. That was helpful.
We try to do that, especially when we know the road's going to be closed. I'm glad that that did not happen when school was still in session, because during that time of the day, there would have been a lot of people going to and from work, and somebody down below could have seriously gotten hurt. There was a woman coming up 76 when the car came down, and she watched it come out of the sky, in her words. So luckily she didn't get injured, but yeah, that was that. Okay, there's one thing I want to, before we go on to the next thing, initiative that we're going to venture upon is an ordinance to try to address an issue that we're experiencing. I'm going to show you a video of, this is the Keith Street parking deck, and this is in the evening time, around 10 o'clock at night. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
So I just showed you a burnout. As you can now see the marks. We, as a city, just had that parking deck pressure washed, cleaned, and sealed. Not more than maybe a month or so ago. And so now we have this. And what this is a result of, now this vehicle is coming back and it's gonna park and the person's gonna get out. And I believe we have identified who that is, and we'll take appropriate measures for that. But this is a result of youth using the parking deck as a hangout. And this is the covered part, but the top deck that's uncovered is where the majority of them go. They'll go there usually from 10 o'clock till about 2 o'clock just to hang out. We don't currently have any ordinance in the books that would prohibit that because it is a public building, it is a public space, so people can publicly gather. No different if they were on a public street, as long as they weren't blocking the street or blocking the sidewalk. Well, there's no street or sidewalk here. There is cars going in and out, but if they're not being blocked, then there's not anything that we can really do enforceably. I've done some preliminary research, and there are cities here in South Carolina that have ordinances that combat this type of behavior. So I've asked the city attorney to give their input on that, and we've found an ordinance that we think will work. He's taking a look at it right now. But one of the things that we have to be careful about is, you know, loitering laws have been deemed unconstitutional because of their vagueness. So you have to create an ordinance that is specific to certain activities and cannot be vague. And I think we have an ordinance for an example that we might be able to adopt. So what I'd like to ask is that, you know, we, for the next meeting, put this as an agenda item for discussion. And once I get the information back from the city attorney, I'll present it at the meeting that we could discuss. I may even email it to you ahead of time to give you a little heads up on it to discuss, and then potentially recommend to send to council for this. So this is in the parking deck. Unfortunately, it's usually high school aged kids.
I wonder what's the age group?
Usually high school age, maybe a little bit older, but they're all within that same age range. And a lot of them hang out there during that time because they know most of my officers are downtown dealing with the bar issues, and they're tied up. They're not going to come over there and tell them to move on. And you've heard here on the board, we get complaints from citizens that live in the area all the time about cars revving their engines inside the parking deck because it echoes and makes it louder. This is all part of the same activity that goes on. There's a car group and a motorcycle group that go up there and hang out during these same time periods. And we don't really have any rules in play that would give us the opportunity to say, look, this isn't a hangout. If you're parking, fine, park, move on, go do your thing, come back, but don't hang out here.
Has any physical damage resulted for any of these kind of activities to other
Say
cars?
that again.
Has any physical damage happened to any other cars?
Well, you may
due to
have
this
seen
kind of
online that recently the elevator there now is out of order because somebody crashed into it.
Oh, goodness.
And that is actually an open criminal investigation right now. Charges are pending on the driver of the car, who's a juvenile. But we have video evidence that they were engaged in tomfoolery that resulted in this. And if you know anything about elevators, they're not cheap. So,
No.
again, now that damage though, as this was a peel out, right? He could have easily lost control of that truck and crashed into a car or something else.
Several cars.
The other incident that I'm talking about was poor driving behavior, and, you know, potentially insurance will cover. But I'm pretty sure that the insurance company of the driver, at-fault driver, is going to say, hey, they were doing something illegal at the time, we're not covering them, so it's, you know, it may be an issue. So I don't know what they're gonna
There's a speed limit posted for driving inside the deck.
I believe there is signs in there that are posted 5 miles per hour, but I haven't been in there in a while specifically looking to see if they're there. And when they cleaned it recently, I don't know if they took any signage down because there was some old painted words and stuff that they pressure washed off. So I don't know what was put back on. I haven't been in there to look since then. But even so, speeding is something that we would have to observe in order to cite. So, but anyway, I just wanted to give you an update on that.
So we'll have that added to the next agenda.
Well,
Yeah, Sandy.
Is the one on the university, which is somebody else's business, it's gonna be probably larger than this parking lot, right? I don't know, but I heard it's,
The one that
bunch
they're
of spaces
planning to build,
in lot 10.
yeah, I would assume it's much larger than this one, just based on the land size alone and where it's gonna go.
There's some thoughts for action there for them.
Any
Well,
ideas?
campus is a little unique, well, is unique in that it is not a open municipality like the city is. It is its own sovereignty. If they wanted to, they could put gates up around it and limit who comes on the campus and who doesn't. So they have the ability to regulate activity on campus more so than we do because of that. They can trespass people from the whole campus, where I can't trespass somebody from the whole city. I don't have that authority. The law doesn't allow me to do that. But because of the type of entity that campus is, they do have that authority.
Are there signs in that garage that say that there's video surveillance in there?
I think so. I think there's right as you go
Again, I
towards the
can't
end.
answer that question.
Used
I
to be.
think, I'm sure we've had them up there, especially as you enter the garage.
Yeah.
Again, it's a public space and a public building,
Yeah,
so there's no
yeah,
expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
And the cameras are not covert. I mean, all you gotta do is look up and you see, oh, there's a camera.
Yeah. Any of this kind of incidents in the other decks?
Wow.
Well, the only other deck we have is the Finley deck, and most of that deck is occupied by the people who live at 114 Earl. There is a section that's public, but I think most of the people that live over there are employees that work in the downtown businesses. Did I say live over there? Park over there. Work in and around the downtown, and it's kind of out of the way from the main part of downtown, so not a lot of people park and go downtown from there. And the other parking decks, like the one that's attached to the youth center, that's private, that's not it's owned by the city.
Yeah,
Do we
well, I
have
was just
any-
wondering if there was any incidents that you were called to, by the local owners and say, hey, we have these people doing this kind of thing.
So the Bixby has the parking deck behind it. I haven't gotten any phone calls of them hanging out there. The Keith deck is the desired place to go because it also is the people coming and going to the downtown. So they're amongst that. The Bixby's a little too far away for that.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions on the crime report? Okay, we'll move on to presentation discussions. I think there was an idea in the last minutes for a potential
Yes.
speaker. What was that suggestion?
The active shooter response.
Yes, active.
Active shooter, yeah. With us getting the new CAD system on board and all that kind of stuff, we haven't had time to do pretty much anything, so active shooter.
Oh, that would be good for a future.
We will schedule that for the next meeting.
Okay.
And the only other thing is, we do it every year, but discussing, we've got to put it on the agenda, moving the August meeting.
Oh, when is the night out this year?
We
At the
haven't
start of
set on a
school?
date yet, so we're working on that. The churches and such that we've worked with, they don't want to do it on the Tuesday that school starts, and they don't want to do it, they want to do it before school starts, not after school starts. So we were looking at either the weekend before or the weekend before that We're just trying to shore up dates that people are available. But hopefully by the next meeting, I should know what the date is.
Chief, there was one on, somebody said to me the other day that LSU is gonna be a primetime game with Clemson. That's on Memorial Day, that weekend right after, so the 30th of August, 1st of September.
Labor Day, you're talking about Labor Day?
Labor
Day
Day, yeah,
weekend?
Labor Day.
Yeah, Memorial Day's this
It's-
weekend. So
yeah.
so the LSU game is a primetime game, it's an away game, right?
I thought they said it was here.
No,
Am I-
really?
Oh, it's a home game?
7:30,
Yeah,
Primetime.
yeah.
LSU Clemson.
It's gonna be a big deal, because then people are coming in
Out,
town, and
yeah.
they'll
We've sold out tickets already.
That's gonna be a big one.
get ready.
It's just like any other,
It's the best
it's
way.
the battle of the Tigers.
Yeah.
It's like any other game. We'll be prepped for it, I'm sure.
Do we have any other open discussion topics, anything? Anyone wants? All right. Okay, I think that's all the business we have for today. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Wow.
Hey.